Well, all right. Pardon me. Anyway, if you're watching this, you're watching on YouTube, so do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all of that useful stuff. And I've got to go, and I'm running a little late because I was watching the final episode of Sandman, the bonus episode, the Dream of a Thousand Cats in Calliope. Dream of a Thousand Cats was really well done. You know what? I'll get the stream started before I start talking about that, because I don't want anybody to be left out. Okay, so I'm connected in voice chat, and now I just need to jump in and get the screen sharing going. So anyway, we're not too late. It's I'm like 6 minutes late, which is, well, actually 20 minutes late, based on when I usually get this stuff started. But anyway, let me get my screen share up, and then I can kind of talk a little bit about this. Now, the final bonus episode of Sandman had two things. Number one, there are two things I want to say about it. It had two stories in it, but also I have two things I wanted to say about it. The first one is the Dream of a Thousand Cats bit did a really, really cool animation style that was almost, but not quite, the same thing that they did in Arcane, which is the League of Legends anime. And the Arcane style is just really fucking amazing. And seeing them do something similar with Dream of a Thousand Cats was really cool. I also really liked the story. It was a good story. It reminded me of the old Stephen Vincent Benet short story called King of the Cats. But some differences. And that leads me to the second thing, okay? In Calliope. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it revolves around the same basic concept as the entire Sandman television series, which is an arrogant jackass of a human wizard tries to imprison one of the gods. It's like you go back to the first episode of Sandman, and the first thing that this dumbass does, he imprisons the god of dreams. But he was trying to imprison the god of death. And he's like, we could put a god in prison and make him do what we want. Are you fucking retarded? You can't even get the right goddamn god. This shit happens all the time. You would think that they would learn. And the thing that got me is you got this guy who imprisons Calliope, one of the 9 muses, to force her to give him ideas. And I'm like, have you guys read the mythology? Have you paid any fucking attention? Because do you realize how horrible the punishments are for mortals that fuck with the gods? Do you even realize this? And it's Erasmus Fry who puts the muse under his power and like binds her and puts her under his control. He's sitting there, he's thinking, oh, well, you know, I'll just pass her on to somebody else and then I'll die. Do you think death puts you beyond the reach of the gods? What the fuck is wrong with these people? I mean, if you take as read, these are wizards, these are people that are involved in magic, and they're like, oh, I'm so smart, I'm so good at this, I can control the gods. No, you fucking can't. All of them? No goddamn way. What, you think they don't talk to each other? You think they don't have friendships and rivalries and pacts? And, God, it drives me nuts. And you keep seeing people do it because people are fucking stupid, and what can you do? But anyway, I've been doing a lot of cleanup on the GART this weekend, or this week. And I kind of cleaned up. I redid the tail completely, and I did the cuffs, and I did the bottom hem of the dress, and I still have to do the legs and the shoes, which are like complete. It's like this whole area here is just like everything in here is just completely fucked up. But I wanted to come up and do the facial area first, because you got to get your facials in. That's entertainment. I put down my coffee cup weird, so it was hard to pick up. Now it's hard to put back down. Okay. But what I want to do tonight is I want to redo the face on the hoodie because I did a shit job on that. So I want to is that right? And scooch over. They go over the outer corners of her eyes, don't they? Now let's take a look at the original reference. And I've got all this. I got all this other stuff here. Let me jump down here, and we'll pull off the tail reference. And yeah, they are right over the outside corners of her eyes. And the nostrils are just inside of the inside corners of her eyes. It lines up almost with her mouth. Okay. Well, that answers that question. So we're going upper corner of the eye, and this needs to be kind of squashed because of the angle we're looking at it from. And outside corner of the eye here. And then we go up from the nose and we do, needs to be on line art. Start at 7, we'll yank that black, and we'll go, okay, up from between the eyes, right there, and we get a little dot and a little dot. And then out here we have, these don't look right. There we go, and these over here are going to be kind of smaller. Because they're turned over to the side. So there we are. That looks better. That's already an improvement. What I've been doing a lot of is just clearing up the sloppy coloration that I did. Because I was really sloppy just trying to get stuff done really fast. And there's a lot of stuff that I just plain didn't do a good job of. Intersections. Hello. It's a lot of vector work all at once. Makes the undo system work. We'll clear that up. Now what we want is back here. We want to have some hair coming out of the back. Hair coming out of the back there. What the hell? Line art. And okay, so I want hair coming out of the back there. There we are. That should do it. And then we'll have then over here we gotta clean this up a little bit. Not sure what this is supposed to look like here. Should I... You know what? That shouldn't even be there. This space here should all be hair coming out from under the hoodie. That's what that should be right there. Let's go back to line art and we'll make that happen. We'll go swoop. Nope. Gone back to line. We've gone back to the color layer. Right. No, line art layer is where we want to be. The brush is where we want to be using, and swoop the hair down there, and then we'll vector erase that. Just to clean that up, and this will be the brush, and back to the color layer. Let me just kind of get that up and kicking there. Now this is going to have to be in shadow, so I want to check that. I've got some hair in shadow on the other panel. And of course this is not very detailed right now, so we'll fill that in. Clean up these last little bits there. Scroll out a bit, and we've got that color right there. So this is the color that we want here. And we want to kind of fill in this space. This is the color layer, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. All right, so we get that in there. We got that bit in. Now I can use the bucket and then clean it up with the brush some more. How does that look in terms of... I don't know if I like how that looks. I feel like I should be doing something else here. I feel like that's not the right thing to do. I'm not sure what the right thing to do is. That's one of the hardest things about... One of the hardest things about doing art is that sometimes you know that what you just did doesn't look right, but you don't know what right looks like. So you're kind of stuck. But anyway, I want to come in here and I want to improve the hairline. Line art. We're going to need, let's drop the size down a little bit. We'll carve that notch out there. We'll carve another notch out here. Let's come to our vector eraser and clean up some of this space here. Okay, that line, well, that was way too much. That line is too, it's too thick. So let's see what we can do here. We have an adjust line width. So let's narrow, narrow, narrow. No, that's hitting stuff I don't want it to hit. And that needs to be narrower. We'll go back to our vector eraser, clean that up. Back to our brush. That looks about right there. And a little bit there, and just kind of add a bit on that. Here. I'm going to pull that out of place, and that needs to go. That needs to go. That needs to be fixed right there. Actually, that needs to go all the way up to there. Okay. So now we'll grab these little bits there, and that should do that. Now, I want to kind of I want this kind of deep blue on the hair. So let's come over to our brush. We're going to go to watercolor, and we're going to use that transparent watercolor here on the color layer. And then we'll use this kind of teal here in this space. And that's we'll just kind of get that in where it's supposed to go, and then we'll go back to the India ink, and we'll clean up the edges, like so. Like we don't want the turquoise in the shark tooth. Not where it belongs. Similarly, we don't want the blue coming all the way out here. And well, that part was just a mess in the first place. I'm going to have to redo that. Skin tone in there, get the white in there. So it's a lot of just sampling. I'm using the right click, which I've got mapped to one of the buttons on my pen, and the other one is mapped to transparent. So I can grab any color from anywhere and use it to paint, and then I can just use the transparent color to carve that back. Now, I've found this to be a really, really useful pair of shortcuts. And clean up that eye a little bit. I rely on the idea that as I revisit areas of the work, I will see things that I did sloppily and fix them. Line art. Black. Go. Now we go back to our watercolor. And we go, here's the teal. We'll pull this back a little bit to let's pull that back to about a 10. scroll in here to the vector eraser, right? Okay. One layer, right? Back to the brush, back to the color layer. Back to the India ink. I can clean that up. And clean that up. And clean up these edges here. And these edges here. And clean up that little messy bit. So there's that. And I'm cleaning up with flesh tone instead of with white, which was a bad idea. But there we go. And I think we need flesh tone here. Because her hair is falling away from her face there. So let's grab that. And we need eyebrows. She doesn't have any eyebrows. So we're going to come back to our brush, come down to black, and we're going to go to our typical 7 wide. Now, is that about right? That looks about right. They're a little bit raised. Not sure whether that hair looks right on the back there. I do know this area here needs to be in shadow too. And that's on the line art level where it does not belong. And I'm an idiot. And there is one too many undos because I'm an idiot. So that area back there is going to, no, that part's not going to be in shadow. Because that is going to be, see, we got a lot of fuzzy line work here. This has all got to be cleaned up right here. So, honestly, this hair needs to be cleaned up too. So, what we're going to do on this is, you know what, I'm just going to line art, pull that out. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pull all of this hair out. Very nearly all of it, anyway. And start right here. Where we go. There's one little bit of hair right there. One goes right under the eye. And then the next piece comes down right about here. That's about right. Now let's get that out of there and that out of there. And from this point, I really think we need to pull that too. I think we need pretty much all of that pulled. So we're going to want to pull this down somewhat. Into there. We'll have that and that, and this will sit up kind of in front. So that'll come down and that'll come down. But we want a nice thin tail end there. So pull that out. There. And we'll pull out the white. Clean up that hair. We don't want to be cleaning up the hair on the line art layer, so back to color. We want it to sit underneath of the line art. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm sneezing. It's miserably hot over here. Clean up that skin tone there. And we'll clean up that hair tone there. More hair tone to clean up here. And that's actually looking really good for the hair on this side. And now I've got to answer a couple of mental questions about what the hell I was thinking when I drew some of this shit. What was that supposed to be? It's nothing. I'm getting rid of it. There we are. Now, eraser again. Clean this up. Clean this up. Clean this up. I don't like how this line here ends up looking. So there, better. I mean, not perfect, but... And this one here needs some work, so... Draw through and erase. Much better than trying to make two lines look like they connect. Color. And that nice little tail there. I'll do a vector eraser, just the part that I touch. Try and clean up this little end right there. That works. Now we're going to erase up to intersections there and there. Back to the color. Use the brush. Tighten that up. Clean it up. I think this part here It's just ugly and nasty and doesn't fit. Let me use redraw vector line again. There we go. Back to the vector eraser. Trim up a little. Brush the color layer. I need to move stuff around here. There's stuff that is sitting in an inconvenient location. And I feel like a lot of this stuff is sitting where it is because it's intended for right-handed people to use it, and I am a left-handed person. So as a left-handed person, this stuff ends up in an awkward position for me. And yes, I am drinking hot coffee over here, even though it is miserably hot over here. Because I'm just insane. I'm an emotionally compromised teenage girl. I wonder if anybody even understands that joke. Okay, now, what I'm going for here is I want Gora's jawline in here, but it doesn't really go. Let me clean this up a bit. And let's see what we can do in terms of we want to know that Gora's jawline is coming in here. This would be kind of a swooping, actually this entire side of the face kind of messed up. So that line actually does a pretty good job of marking the jaw lines. What we want is to kind of clarify and make sure that this reads as this is the jawline. And the right way to do that is just to bring down the jawline. Okay, we're working on the line art. Okay. So that would come down, and then her mouth needs to be lower, I think. Well, she's kind of screwing up her face, so that's fine. But there will be kind of, no, not quite there. There, maybe. Okay, that's about right. Now, let's erase that. And we'll erase that, which goes down underneath of there. And we need to shade the neck. Because that's going to be the neck in there. I want the neck to be in shadow, just like I was over there. And I'm going to clean up these teeth down here. I'm playing the shit out of Grand Theft Auto Online the past few days. Because ever since the Criminal Enterprises update, it's just been a whole lot more fun to play. They've improved a whole bunch of stuff. And by improving that whole bunch of stuff, they've made things a whole lot easier in terms of the actual gameplay. Clean that space up there. And I think, yeah, that'll be good. Down to color. Get that in place. Shadow that space there. Clean up the shadow over here. Clean up the shadow over here. Clean up that line right there. Back to a color layer. Wish I had an easier way to switch back and forth between the color layer and the line art layer. There we go. That's kind of a mess there. Kind of a mess there. Okay. Back to color. Clean up. Ooh, that's it's more shitty vector in a place where it doesn't belong. There we go. There's a lot of cleanup at this point, but I do feel like this is progressing very well. Even with all the criticism that I make of it, this is still on par with the other stuff that I've done lately. There's a vector that needs to go right there. I think I am going to make the kind of mental determination that Gura's hoodie covers up all of her hair. So there is no hair sticking out over here. There's just a there's just going to be a big old space right in here. So I'm going to use a big brush at first and then I'll lower the size down as I get closer to the edge, so I can erase this large space quickly at first and then with more detail as I get farther and farther in. I'm gonna go to line art, pull that, and still feel like there's a lot of extraneous line work here that needs cleanup. You know what? I think I need to redraw that whole section there. So let's go back to the brush, take it off transparent, put it back on. Ooh, that's too thick. That looks good. Back to color. Grab the skin tone. Fill in. Go transparent. Clean up there. Skin tone again. Clean up that space. Clean up that space. Clean up that space. And here. This needs to be cleaned up. Now here in this space, we should have Gura's neck coming down over that part of the area right there. So let's go back to black. And that's about right. Back to color. Be doing more descriptive layers than just black and white and color. Okay, so we're doing pretty well right here in terms of getting this second panel together. I would really like to finish this panel tonight. Oh, that's not going to happen because I still got legs to do and all. Also, what the hell is going on over here? That's way too much line work. It's too busy. That looks about right. That doesn't look right at all. And color, brush, clean up right in there. Vector eraser, line art layer over here. Back to the brush. Undo my little mistake on the vector line layer. And we got some hairiness up here, so I think we do need some creasage in this vicinity because, among other things, this sleeve is gonna twist. She's turning her arm, so there's gonna be a twist in that. And to make it clear that this is a twist, we want to come up here and we'll pull that vector and then short up there. Actually, let's just erase that bit there. And we'll swoop up at an angle there. So it's evident that this is a twist in the fabric. We'll also clarify that with some shading. We'll clean that up. We're accidentally erased a bunch. Back to the line art layer and clean that up just a tad. Back to color. Clean that up. And we also need to clean this up. So, back to the brush, I said. There we go. I'll grab that. Oh, wait a minute. Need to do that on the line art layer. So, back to the color layer. Clean that up. Clean that up. Clean that up. And I think I want to redo that. I want to redo this thing here. Let's clean that up. And back to our line art layer. Black, and we're gonna go are there 2 or 3 bones? There are 3. So, one very close, one a little farther along. There we are. And let's close that up. Back to our color layer and fill in that last little bit. And now we've got a nice little drawer, zipper pull kind of effect. Drawer pull, really? Helps if you switch back to black. Back to color. Clean up that space right in there. Back to line art. Go to transparent. clean that up a little bit. Back to color. Jeez. Okay. So we've got a much cleaner look on this. And I think we need to defuzz this area a little bit. That helps. I think this line here needs to swoop up from a different area, like there. So right here we're going to have some creasing. I didn't do a very good job on that, but it's good enough, I think. What is this mess up here? I want to keep that one. Brush, line art, or black. There we go. And now we get the hair on this side to do still. And this crap, which looks like hell. Let's just wipe that out with... we'll just wipe that out with the transparent brush. Then we'll bring back the regular brush and we'll start working on the hair over here. Button down a bit and clean up some of these little messy bits there. And what we want is to have we want to do the same basic thing that we always do with Guru's hair because it's consistent. Okay, so this first one would go right under her eye, but it's sort of falling forward. Same with this one, which would typically be by her temple. Well, those have kind of fallen downward, as has that one. And we'll clean that up. And we'll do, yeah, that kind of works. Let's just redraw those. Okay, now we go down to color, and we start by clearing off the outside. I'm using the vector eraser and not the actual eraser here. Actual eraser brush. Well, I'm still not using the actual eraser brush. I'm using a transparent brush, which I use for that purpose. Now, we fill in the hair itself. And we fix the blue over here by grabbing the appropriate color, switching the watercolor brush. Back to India ink. And yeah, that looks reasonably good. Back to our line art here for a second. Let's clean up some of that. And then this bit right here, I want to swoop that in there. And there's the other side of that hood there. Okay. And this should be coming around somehow. Shouldn't it? No, it shouldn't. It connects right there, doesn't it? So, yeah. So, line art layer, so. Back to the color layer. Back to the brush. Okay, and it's time to start thinking about cleaning that up first of all, and cleaning up this little bit of line art there. Back to color. And clearing up these little bits here. That up. Back to brush. Back to black. And line art leveling up. Clean that up. Clean that up. And that's hair, so. What is going on there? Okay. So back to color, and wow, we're over an hour already. I was really kind of hoping I would get to the legs and feet tonight, but it doesn't look like that is in the cards. Let's just clear up that little bit. Back to color. Back to brush. Clean that up. Okay. So we back out here. This is looking pretty good. If I just clean up the legs and add a little shading, which I'll probably do over the course of this week, then we're pretty much done with this. And I need to make the tail thinner. The tail was thinner over here, so I need to redo the tail and make that thinner. But yeah, if I just clear those up a little bit, if I do the shoes and the legs and add some shading, redo the tail, then we're about ready to move on to segment 3. And I'm going to do something radical with segment 3. We're going to do segment 3 next week, and when we do the third panel, what I want to do is I want to go all the way from the initial gesture drawing all the way to flat color in the first hour. Because this first one right here, this first panel took 4 months. And the second panel has taken 2 weeks. So let's see if we can't get... No, wait, the second panel has taken 3 weeks, hasn't it? Yeah, it has. It's taken about 3 weeks. So we're going to try and get panel number 3 done at least to the flat color stage in 1 week. And I'm going to see how that works. And we've also learned something relatively important, which is that when we go into our reference here, where did I have it? Oh yeah, this thing, the 3D model that we used to start with. That was no help at all. So I wasted a lot of time on that over the course of a previous week. So we're not going to waste our time with a 3D model on the next one. We're just going to work directly. And that's interesting because I always hear people talk about how useful the 3D models are in Clip Studio Paint. And I always think that the 3D models are going to be really useful, but it looks like they're just not. So I'm not sure what to make of that, but you know the deal. At this point, we're going to turn off the stream and do a little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, all of that happy horse shit that YouTube likes. And then, okay, bye.